Green Industry Hall of Fame Committee would like to congratulate all inductees for the 2015 event. We are very proud to show you this video. Thank you very much.
The next person that I want to have come up is Javier, and he's with Toro. He'll be introducing, presenting to Mark Pedicone. So we'll be right up. Mark's pretty easy. Mark's on. I can say a couple things about Mark. He's looking at me. I've been the president of the CLCA for the Inland Empire for the last 6 years, and Mark's been on that board with me and done an unbelievable job. He works with me. He does all the treasury reports, and he runs and keeps everything. If I miss one little invoice or didn't pay something or one little thing, man, it could be $2 getting a muffin somewhere, he holds me to it. So he's pretty conservative on his money and stuff. I'm so glad to have him be a part. If I don't hear from Mark in my travels, I do travel all over the United States teaching, and if he doesn't hear from me in a week or so, he gives me a call and always checks in. I haven't heard from you. So just an amazing guy that we've got to know in the past 6, 7 years. I'll let Javier tell you more about him, but I'm very glad that we're inducting Mark into the Green Industry Hall of Fame.
My name is Javier Cuellar, and I'm with the Toro Company, and tonight I have the pleasure of introducing Mark Pedicone. In looking over Mark's bio, you can see the various companies he's worked for, the positions and responsibilities he has held, the industry organization that he has and continues to be involved in, all culminating in his presence here tonight. These are all activities, but there's a very human side to Mark interacting within these roles, and I'd like to share one memory as an example. I met Mark about 30 years ago. I was a new recruit at a company where Mark had just been promoted from a sales position, from a district sales manager, into a product management position. My hiring process was long and tedious, but I eventually realized that they needed to hire me by the time we had a national sales meeting. My first day was not spent getting acclimated to the company, getting trained, nothing of that nature. Instead, I found myself in the middle of what I was somewhat intimidated by a large group of experienced people. I didn't know it at the time, but at one point, Mark would be presenting updates on a central control product line. Just before that, the national sales manager took me to the side, and he kind of briefed me as to something that the group was going to do. Now, being the new guy, I wasn't trusted to do anything. In fact, my instructions were to do absolutely nothing. So I remember Mark walking in his new position, his new role, and letting people know that he had made it. He wore a name tag about the size of a postcard that said Mr. Pedicone. He'd rub it, he'd let people know. Basically, he got the jeers. He started getting people throwing things at him and stuff. And I remember looking at this guy and thinking, you know, every organization has an agitator, and this guy has to make it happen. Eventually he started to talk. Actually, he started to yell. And he said he was going to be kind of the new product manager, unlike any others, and he had gifts for these guys. And to start off with, he pulled out a pack of pocket protectors, pencil pocket protectors, started flinging them around the room. I remember thinking, you know, well, that'll come up later. He eventually got this presentation. Now, the atmosphere had turned professional, and the presentation was informative, but people slowly started getting up and walking out in ones and twos. While I wasn't familiar with his updates, it ended up that Mark, in his full vigor, was only talking to me. All of a sudden, the phone on the wall rang, if you remember those, usually they were by doors. And I finally gestured to Mark that maybe I should go pick up the phone. He agreed, and as I walked over to the phone, finally it seemed to dawn on Mark that we were the only two people in the room. I could see everybody in the hallway just kind of laughing And after the joke was over, everybody started coming in. And I noticed that everybody just loved Mark. They were laughing and enjoying it. And this was really my first interaction with Mark. As time went on, I found that Mark could dish it out as well as take it in. And all the activities with Mark would always take on a life of their own. If you've ever played golf with Mark, and you really had a bad day, you could always count on Mark looking at you and telling you, man, you breathe. His business events were somewhat unorthodox as well. There was the time he hosted customers to a World Wrestling Federation event, where we witnessed a guy being knocked out by a woman flinging a large industrial ashtray across the ring. Or there was the time he hosted parties, having everyone participate in games such as cherry pit spinning contests. Surprisingly, the ladies did quite well. While he can make everything pretty fun, his greatest asset is his commitment to supporting people in the industry. He truly exemplifies his servant leadership attitude. That is, he leads by serving as well. When I first worked with Mark, in his role as a product manager, he was responsible for commercial sprays, commercial rotors, commercial valves, commercial controllers, central control, and backflow. These products typically have a dedicated product manager for each one, but he handled them all. As busy as his responsibilities kept him, he never avoided answering questions, giving background information, or finding solutions. In fact, unlike most product managers, he would voluntarily make actual field visits to problem sites, sometimes dragging engineers or whoever needed to be out there to find the solutions. I can remember countless trade shows and field events where he did not need to attend, but he worked in order to help support his products and our sales efforts. Through these personal interactions, he was able to stay in contact with all customers and users and competitors. Mark stays well connected. At least he is the go-to guy for information in our industry. As a professional, his professional and personal attitude demonstrates how Mark can bring people together and unite them. He is a lot of fun, but he also is respected for his knowledge, his willingness to share, his commitment to getting involved in the advancement of our green industry. Mark is an inspiring professional, a trusted friend, a dedicated father to Leo, Marion, Stephen, Kelsey, and Corey, and now a grandfather. It is my honor and my privilege to introduce Mark Pedicone as the recipient of this well-deserved award. And somebody took this pin from me.
Tip the top forward. Top. There you go. 1, 2.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Javier for those kind remarks. And I'd like to thank all my friends and family that are here today. I'm fortunate that all 5 of my children are present. And as a proud father, I have my kids here. I have 2 of my children that are in the service. My son's all decked out tonight. He's out there. The oldest daughter is not in the room right now. She's walking in. It is also a warrant officer in the Army. Oh, she's right here. She's taking videos. She's also in the Army. 2 of my children teach high school. My daughter actually teaches special needs kids in high school. They're doing their service. My middle daughter and her husband are present, and they have blessed me with a beautiful granddaughter. So I'm a very fortunate person from that standpoint. I've been blessed to be in this industry for a long time. I was fortunate in the companies I've worked for, both Rainbird, Hydro State, Barometer, now EC Water. It has allowed me to meet an awful lot of people in the industry, both locally and nationwide. It's allowed me to get involved in a lot of aspects of the industry. and meet a lot of friends that I can say are friends for over 30 years. I've been very fortunate from that standpoint. A little background, you have my bio and other things, so I'm not going to go through that, but something you may not know is that the landscape and irrigation industry was not my first choice. I actually started out studying for the priesthood. And all 5 of my kids are excited that I didn't do that. But, when I decided the seminary wasn't for me, I was at a crossroad in my life, and I was going to go one of 2 different directions. And the 2 directions was to get involved in the landscape and nursery industry, which was my love at the time, or I was going to be a mortician. So I actually looked at some of the courses over, I think it's Cypress or Cerritos College that has a mortuary degree. Cypress? They have a mortician's program over there. And I just happened to go to Fullerton College and get involved in the horticultural industry, fortunately for the kids, and have been involved in there ever since. And I remember how I kind of got involved in the landscape industry. I was going to Cal Poly. I was in Dr. George Smith's soils class. I'm sure Peggy and Bob remember that. And they had a guest lecturer come in, and it was Tom Lockwood from the Aronomer Company. And for some reason, it just kind of clicked as to what he was talking about. I was very interested in what was going on. And I always remembered the fact that Tom had come in. And when I graduated from Cal Poly, to the chagrins of Peggy, we had issues with our senior project, but we're past that. But when I graduated from Cal Poly, I decided I needed to get a job, but I didn't know how to go about doing that. So I asked my friends, and they said, well, how do you go about getting a job in the industry? And they said, well, no matter what, the one thing you never, ever do is never put an ad in one of the local magazines, because no one will ever respond to that. So I decided that sounds like a great idea, because no one's going to do it. So I actually ran an ad in Danny Goldstein's magazine. This had to be 35 years ago. And I actually had a whole lot of people reply to that. And one of the people that replied was the Aronomer Company, where Tom Lockwood had worked. And I kind of got my foot in the door. And I've had the pleasure of working for a lot of top-notch people over the years. I mean, I remember the residential people. I mean, where else can you work with people from residential to the #2 irrigation designer? I mean, the #1 irrigation designer in the world, David Ghana. I mean, how fortunate can you be able to do that? And then I had to make a note up here because my kids were sitting back and waiting for me to mispronounce the word relationship. Because for some reason, whenever I get up and I give a talk and I say the word relationship, I say relationship. So in fact, tomorrow is my daughter's 7-year wedding anniversary. We'll go over to her house celebrating that. And we have a drinking game we do at her house. We watched a wedding video where I was the minister marrying both her and her husband, Mike. And every time I mispronounce the word, we have to do a shot. So we're doing that tomorrow. And the second thing we do is anytime we see a couple in the video that's no longer a couple, we also do a shot. It's going to be a very long afternoon from that standpoint. So, yeah. So again, I would like to thank everybody for honoring me with this award. It's been a wonderful 30-plus years in the industry. I have a lot of great friends in the industry. I'm thinking maybe now with the water conservation issues with the state, maybe a mortician would have been a better way to go, but I am where I am right now, so I can't do much about that. But again, I'd like to thank you all for your support, and again, thank all my friends and family for being here to celebrate with me.